Peace and love, y'all. It's your brother A.D.V.I.S S, and we are here with another episode of What's the Word Wednesday, Season 3, Episode 6. So, as we usually do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put up our logo for the show, as well as I'm going to put down in the comments the topics that we have for today's show. But as I'm doing that, and as y'all are coming in, let me know how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, and what's the word. As I'm playing some music right in the background. And as y'all are doing that as well too, shouts out to those who will be watching this now as well as later, whether on Instagram or YouTube. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and follow your boy or subscribe to your boy at A.D.V.I.S.S Speaks. Again, that's A.D.V.I.S.S Speaks. And we are on that channel, again, trying to reach 1,000 plus and beyond. And there will be more content like this and others that will be on that channel. So go ahead and subscribe to your boy there at A.D.V.I.S.S Speaks. Now, with that, at the same time, let's go ahead and we'll run down the topics for today's episode as we let and wait for more folks to come in. So, first thing we got going on, we're going to be talking about, again, current events. So this is going to be the news portion of the session, or at least for this episode, is going to go first, as it usually does. And then second, we're going to be talking about faith. I have it spelled out as an acronym. No one right now, you know, I'm an acronym dude, so I got one for it. We're going to speak about faith. And then lastly, we're going to talk about why do we hope and wish. Those are big, or at least words I hear a lot, very commonly. So we're going to talk about that as well to end out the show. And that's all we got for today's show as well. So again, thank y'all again for y'all's continued support, for coming in, giving up your time, and just, again, listening to your boy speak his mind as y'all also share your thoughts and perspectives along with me. Gotta have that patience. But alright, let me make sure I got everything set up how I need to. 1, 2, 3. Alright, we are good. We're good to go. I'm liking it. Gather up your patience. So stop, look, listen, and gather up your patience. Alright. Da-na-na. Sorry, I'm going to go ahead. Just get this show going on the road. And let's move to the show intro. So let's get it. Again, if you don't know, you'll learn it soon. And soon, you won't have to hear me keep singing it. But here it goes. What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? Tell them like, what's the word? What's the word? What you heard? We gotta know, yeah, what's the word? Again, peace and love to y'all. It's your brother A.D.V.I.S S. We are here with another episode of What's the Word Wednesdays, Season 3, Episode 6. And for today's episode, y'all, again, we got 3 topics, as we usually do. And of those 3 topics, we're going to be talking about current events, which is going to come up, whatever has been happening, whatever I've seen. We're going to talk about faith. And then lastly, we're going to talk about why do we hope and wish. So without any delay, let's go ahead and let's jump into these current events, aka news. Alright. And again, for those who are coming in, and when you do, if you have any news reports that you want to share or anything that's happening with you, even any good news that has happened for you, please share it down in the comments as well. Whether you're doing it now or later, please share them down in the comments. As well as if you're not in here with the news portion, you want to skip through, go ahead and skip through. It's roughly going to be posted around 30 minutes or so. You'll see it later on, but there you go. But let's go ahead and get into these current events. So as of right now, current events I have is surrounding, again, talking about the pandemic and COVID, as well as updates going on. I'm not going to say many updates with Ukraine, Russia, as well as just a few other interesting things to share. So with that, let's get into this first article. The first article comes from CNN, and the headline reads, "Why the Biden administration is giving new, heavier weapons to Ukraine." So, again, 3 paragraphs and we're out. If you want to know what the article is, I will repeat it after so you can go and look it up later on for yourself. So, article reads, "For the first time since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the U.S. is providing Kyiv with the types of high-powered capabilities some Biden administration officials viewed as too much of an escalating risk a few short weeks ago." The $800 million list is driven not only by the direct request from Ukraine, but also in preparation for a new type of fight on the open plains of southeast Ukraine, right next to Russia, terrain that plays into Russia's natural military advantages. The new weapons package represents the starkest sign to date that the war in Ukraine is shifting, and with the weapons Ukraine will need if it hopes to continue to stymie a Russian military that has regrouped and resupplied after its initial failures the opening weeks of the war. The Biden administration announced a new package including 11 Mi-17 helicopters that had initially been earmarked for Afghanistan, 18 155 millimeter howitzer cannons, and 300 more Switchblade drones, in addition to radar systems capable of tracking incoming fire and pinpointing its origin. So, that's out there for y'all to know and see and hear. That's the main of it, but some officials are saying that this is an escalation risk and adding that in, but you can go and listen or read this article for yourself later. Again, this article comes from CNN, and the headline reads, "Why the Biden administration is giving new, heavier weapons to Ukraine." Now, moving forward from that, and as we do the same thing there, I move right back into these over here. And now we got some more updates again on COVID, and I'm going to have another article with this. But the next article comes from Market Watch, and the headline reads, "The World Health Organization, aka WHO, says Omicron variant now accounts for 99.2% of global COVID cases, and warns that people are still developing severe disease and dying." So as we usually do, 3 paragraphs and we out. Article reads, "Coronavirus update. The Omicron variant of the coronavirus that causes COVID-19 accounts for 99.2% of all cases sequenced in the latest week, according to the World Health Organization, further cementing its dominance over other variants. In its weekly epidemiological update, y'all gonna have fun with that, agency said that while vaccine effectiveness wanes against Omicron for all diseases outcomes following primary vaccination, the vaccines retain strong protection against severe disease, making it important that the unvaccinated get their shots. Despite a reduction in the SARS-CoV-2 testing observed since the beginning of 2020, or 2022, I should say, in many member states, the COVID-19 pandemic continues with intense transmission and high levels of death, primarily amongst unvaccinated, at-risk populations. The WHO warned in its update. The new BA.2, which is basically talking about Omicron variant, has public health officials worried about potential new COVID-19 surges. WSJ's Daniela Hernandez explains what you need to know about this new, more transmissible COVID variant, illustrated the speed of which Omicron, especially its BA.2 variant or subvariant, there's a subvariant to Omicron, has spread across the globe is not just because it's highly infectious, but also because the relaxation of the public health and social measures in many places and a general waning of immunity following vaccination and or prior infection, says the agency. So, again, there's more of this to read and get updated on. But again, this article comes from Market Watch, and the headline reads, WHO says Omicron variant now accounts for 99.2% of the global COVID cases and warns that people are still developing severe disease and dying. So thank y'all for that. So, with knowing that's the case, next article, we might talk similarly about this, comes from NPR, and the headline reads, COVID remains a public health emergency for now, says WHO and Biden administration. So again, 3 paragraphs and we're out. There's a picture here too. The picture says the way out of the pandemic, vaccinate the world. This is in a subway in London, Westminster Underground train. Right. Again, 3 paragraphs are out. Article reads, the WHO and the Biden administration are both saying that COVID-19 remains a public health emergency, even as global deaths from the virus have reached the lowest since March 2020. Both the WHO and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services first declared COVID-19 a public health emergency in January 2020. More than 2 years later, the pandemic situation has improved, but global health experts believe the virus is still a major health threat. More needs to be done before the WHO can lift this designation. The organization's director general, Tedros Adhanom, if I'm saying it right, with the G, his last name is G. I'm not the whole G, but it's a long name, not going to even try. Says Wednesday during a press conference. Under a public health emergency declaration issued by the WHO, a committee was formed and dedicated to tackling the virus. They were given the power to form formal health recommendations to prevent further spread of the disease. That COVID-19 emergency committee will decide when to lift the emergency declaration. It is unclear when that may happen, but the group will consider the levels of international effort to contain the virus, as well as data on infection rates to decide on when to end the global health emergency. So yeah, y'all, the only thing left on here is that globally right now it is 22,336 deaths recorded since last week. But other than that, y'all probably was wondering, okay, where did this pandemic and things and stuff go as well too? What's going on with Ukraine? All these other current events and things have happened in the sorts. Here's a few of the answers. It's still, of course, out there. It's still happening. It's still, of course, regulations and guidelines that need to be followed. But this is the update, as said, between the Biden administration and the World Health Organization. So again, this article comes from NPR, and the headline reads, COVID remains a public health emergency for now, says WHO and the Biden administration. Now let us continue. So now I found these last few articles are just some interesting things, the news reports that I just wanted to share and put out there. But one of them, again, comes from NPR, and the headline reads, researchers say they've linked silica dust directly to severe black lung disease. I've heard about black lung disease, but again, I mostly hear it, in songs talking about smoke so much they got black lungs. So we're going to read about this and saying now they found a link to silica dust causing severe black lung disease. Shouts out to the brother MC0 in the building. What's the word, brother? Good to see you in here, man. How you doing? How you feeling? What's the word, my G? Right. Again, I'm gonna read 4 for this one. So we're gonna read 4 and then we're out. So all right, here we go. Exposure to a toxic rock dust appears to be the main driving force behind a recent epidemic of severe black lung disease among coal miners, according to the findings of a new study. And it's new studies in there, but again, yeah, I'm not going to click on what the new study is. Lawmakers have debated and failed to adequately regulate the dust for decades. The study, which examined the lungs of modern miners and compared them to miners who worked decades ago, provides the first evidence of its kind that silica dust is responsible for the rising tide of advanced disease including among miners in the Appalachians. This is the smoking gun, said the study's lead author, Dr. Robert Cohen of the University of Illinois at Chicago School of Public Health. Cohen says that up to now there has been indirect evidence of the link, but his study went further, testing lung tissue samples from the concentration of silica particles. It turned out we were right. The pattern of pathology was very, very consistent with silica, Cohen said. Cohen's study specifically looked at the contemporary miners, and miners as in those coal miners, not miners, with severe disease, and was lodged in their lungs compared to older workers who also had severe lung disease. I'm not going to go any further more into it, but again, if y'all want to read and learn a little bit more too about black lung disease and now them finding a link between it, again, the article comes from NPR and the headline reads, researchers say they've linked silica dust directly to severe black lung disease. And thank you, brother Shoot. Feeling good today, bro. How are you doing? I'm glad to hear that, my G. I'm the same, man. Again, I'm gonna say this, I'm a little tired, but I'm getting used to the transitions between going to work and working really long hours and putting in a lot of work moving and then coming back here and transitioning and relaxing. But other than that, brother, I'm grateful. I'm doing well and I'm grateful. Thank you for asking. Right. If y'all have any articles, again, or any news that y'all like to share and put down, please put it in the comments. I would love to at least read it, love to hear it. So y'all are more than welcome to do so. As well as shouts out to my brother Dominic in the building, man. How you been, bro? I haven't got to see you in a minute, my G. Hope all is well with you. Right. Let's move on, y'all. We got 3 more. We got 4 more articles, and after that, we're going to move on to the next portion of the show, which, again, y'all more than welcome to join. I'll speak about that in a bit. Right. Next article comes from NPR, again, and the headline reads, the Hubble telescope confirms the largest comet nucleus ever seen by astronomers. So, again, I'm going to do, let's see, do 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do 4 paragraphs this time, and we're out. So, with that, let's get into this article. NASA's Hubble Space Telescope has confirmed the largest icy comet nucleus ever seen by scientists. The nucleus of the comet C/2014 UN271 named the Bernardinelli Berenstein is about 80 miles in diameter, which is larger than the state of Rhode Island, NASA says. The comet's nucleus is about 50 times larger than that of most comets, and its mass is estimated to be a gigantic 500 trillion tons. It's a lot. This comet is literally the tip of the iceberg for many thousands of comets that are too faint to see in the more distant parts of the solar system. David Jewett, a professor at the Planetary Science and Astronomy at the University of California, Los Angeles, said in a statement, We've always suspected this comet had to be big because it was so bright at such a large distance. Now we confirm it is. Just what it says, or added. Comet C/2014 UN 271. It sounds like a robot code for me. Was discovered by astronomers Pedro and then Bernardinelli. Again, I'm saying the name completely wrong, bro, but hey. And Gary Berenstein. Using article images from the Cerro Tololo Inter-American Observatory in Chile. The comet has been observed since 2010 when it was 3 billion miles away from the sun and has been studied ever since. Now, that's it for this article. Again, if y'all want to read more about this comet and learn a little bit more, again, article comes from NPR, and the headline reads, The Hubble Telescope confirms the largest comet nucleus ever seen by astronomers. So yeah, I had that one there. Let me see what y'all got in the comments right here. It's saying, that's good, bro. You're doing a great job maintaining that balance. I appreciate it. I acknowledge it. And I take that in, my man. Not going to say it's easy, bro, but it's definitely tough. It says, hey, bro, doing great, man. You have a pretty cool setup for the live stream. Thank you, bro. Got to give y'all at least something nice to look at while y'all just staring and just listening. Or y'all might just be listening and not even looking. So, little aesthetics. Got to give a little bit. So this one is an thought it was a cool article that I passed by. And again, y'all can look into this later on. I'm not going to go too deep into it. But it's an article I got from CNN Health. And it's out of, I guess, Life But Better Mindfulness. That whole setup there. The article's headline reads, What Music Reveals About Our Minds. So I'm going to read a little bit of it. And then, again, y'all can read more of it later if you want to find it. But with that, let's get into it. Music is a powerful tool to access information about ourselves. I agree 1,000%. Two recent studies are offering new insights into how our favorite tunes are linked to memories, I agree, and our personalities, and how those connections can make lives better. Hearing a favorite familiar or throwback song can instantly transport you to another moment of your life, I agree, bringing back details in startling clarity. I've spoke about this before. For my folks who do know, I did an episode of Words Are Real Spells, and I talked about the word memory in particular. I did a little bit about music, but I didn't do a lot, but I agree with it so far. And it's not just a fanciful feeling. There's science behind how our minds connect music with memory. There's been a beneficial association between music and patients with Alzheimer's or dementia. Repeatedly listening to music that is personally meaningful has been found to improve the brain's adaptability in patients with early Alzheimer's disease or mild cognitive impairment. Listening to music with a special meaning stimulated neural pathways in the brain that helped them maintain higher levels of functioning, according to Michael Shoutout, who was senior author of a study conducted by researchers at the University of Toronto. It was published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease in November. Again, I continue going on with this, but they're already sharing a little bit of the powerful effect of meaningful music. Not just random, not music just thrown around whatever, but meaningful music that reminds you of not only good times within your life and in the past, but also that uplift. And there's so much I can speak on this when it comes to music. I'll give a point and then we'll move past this one and we'll start finishing up. But again, this article comes from CNN Health, and it reads, "What music reveals about our minds." Now, at least the piece I wanted to add with this is that there's a such thing, again, we know of frequency, vibrations, such and such. You can go look a lot of this stuff up. Different hertz of music. If you want to go look things up like this, you can look up on YouTube, healing frequencies, and you'll see there's different sounds. It'll be like 432 hertz or be 963 hertz music frequency. And the thing behind that, there's a study called cymatics. Cymatics basically the study of sound and how literally sound has not only an impact on the organism or the thing that it is connecting with, but also it can shift and shape into different, forms, showing you whether if it is discordant or if it is in harmony. And there's been studies in that shown too. You can YouTube that as well. But there's a reason behind why music makes you feel a certain way. Love frequencies, this type of frequency. There's frequency within the music. I'm gonna leave it at that. There's more I can add to it, but I just want to leave it at that. So this article is touching on stuff that I've heard of and I've known about, and there's much and a lot of information you can look out there and find about that. But it's pretty cool. Right. Let's continue on. This is a quick shout out, a quick rest with the universe, and see you next lifetime to the comic, movie, actor, etc., of Gilbert Gottfried. Most of y'all will know him for especially his noticeable, if not his iconic voice, not only with, of course, the Aflac duck, but just how, again, noticeable his voice is. He just recently passed away Tuesday at the age of 67 after fighting a long illness. Not too sure what that illness was, but I wanted to send, again, my love, appreciation to him, and much energy, love to his family and loved ones that are going through this difficult time right now. So I just wanted to shout that out real quick. So shout out to Gilbert Gottfried. Shout out. Right. Last but not least, y'all, for all my folks who be like ordering stuff, who like ordering from Amazon and all these online places, this article comes from CNN Business, and the headline reads, "Amazon is adding a 5% fuel and inflation surcharge." And it looks like it's a short article, so I'm going to get through it and then we'll continue on. Yes, snap. Yep. Yesterday. So again, shouts out, love, respect, and energy, and good wishes to Gilbert Gottfried's family and loved ones. So again, article reads, Amazon said Wednesday that for the first time in company history, it will charge sellers a 5% fuel and inflation surcharge. The e-commerce giant said that a new fee will begin April 28th and is being imposed because inflation has worsened significantly in recent months. Again, for y'all don't know too, there's literally going to be a recession, or there's signs showing that there's going to be a recession happening very soon. And then this is part of it. In 2022, We expect to return to normalcy as COVID-19 restrictions around the world eased, but fuel and inflation have presented further challenges, Amazon wrote in memo that was provided to CNN by the company. It is unclear if these inflationary costs will go up or down, or for how long they will persist, so rather that than a permanent fee charge. Amazon spokesperson Patrick Graham told CNN that the fee surcharge applies to only to fee rates paid by sellers that choose to use Amazon's fulfillment services, which include storing, packaging, and shipping products. Other sellers that do not use fulfillment by Amazon will not be impacted. News of the surcharge was first previously reported by Bloomberg News. Now, right now, this surcharge looks like it's only applying to those who are selling to Amazon, not those who are buying. But it's good to know for us, for those who are selling to Amazon, to see that there are going to be some increase in prices of things and stuff that you want to buy, which we already seen it. Again, inflation, things are going up. Food's been going up. Gas is crazily going up for sure, as well as clothes. All, again, amenities and things within our day-to-day life. A lot of stuff has gone up. Cost of living. The fee hike is the latest example of how businesses are reacting to the spiking energy and other costs. Again, Uber and Lyft recently began tacking on temporary fuel surcharges to rides, and airlines have been raising their airfare. Amazon fees hike on sellers could translate to higher costs to consumers as businesses seek to pass along rising expenses to their customers. Again, in that same note, what's going on, Kundan? Peace and love to you. What's the word? We're just finishing up right now, at least with the current events. So let's go ahead and continue on. Suppliers sharply raised prices by 11.2% in March, the most on records that go back to 2010. The Bureau of Labor Statistics said Wednesday. Consumer prices spiked by 8.5% year over year in March, the biggest jump since 1981. Shouts out to all those born in 1981. Amazon said in his memo that the company has attempted to minimize the impact of inflation. Like many, we have experienced significant cost increases and absorbed them wherever possible to reduce the impact of our selling partners, Amazon said. When we did increase fees, we were focused on addressing permanent costs and ensuring our fees were competitive with those charged by other service providers. So, boom. That's the article there. So again, I read the whole thing, but if you still want to go check it out and see it for yourself, article comes from CNN Business, and the headline reads, Amazon is adding a 5% fuel and inflation surcharge. Now let me see what we got in here. It says KBJ confirmed as Supreme Court Justice. You gotta let me know, who is KBJ? And I'm looking that up right now. But thank you for sharing that. Oh, okay. Kenanji Brown Jackson, if I'm saying that right. I may be butchering it, but sometimes y'all come here to just see me terribly butcher names and just places. So there y'all go. More content. But I see. Well, congrats to her. Again, I got to do some delving, of course, back into, history of folks. But there it is. All right. If y'all have any other news, which thank y'all for sharing the news. Thank y'all for being in here and taking the time. Please share or give me what you have left in the comments now, as I go ahead and talk about the disclaimer before we jump into the next portion of the show. So if y'all have any more news reports and things, yes, put it in there. So for this next topic and for the rest of the show, I appreciate y'all's support and input. And this is just, again, a disclaimer. If you want to come on and also want to join in for the conversation and talk for these next few topics, disclaimer is, if you come on, just know that this will be on Instagram later as well as on YouTube later. So if you're not comfortable with that, then you can stay in the comments and share from there. But if you're comfortable, please come on, share your thoughts, and let's get it going. But that's the disclaimer to let you know there. If you get on, it will be shared in different places. But yeah, yes, first black woman, yes. Yeah. There's a lot of firsts for a lot of things now. I mean, it shouldn't necessarily be that, but I mean, we've talked about that before, Kundan, so you already know. But with that, y'all. Oh, shouts out to the brothers. Freddy, the wizard in the building. What's the word, my G? As well as Huey P. Newton, the giant, the legend to be, on his way. Good to see you in here, brother, man. What's the word? Right. Now let's go ahead and let's move to the next topic. Which the next topic we're going to be talking about is faith. But in particular, y'all, if you look down there and you see it in the comments pinned, it's spaced out as an acronym. So I'll share that in a bit of what that is. But before we get into it, I'm going to read a definition for faith, as well as when you hear the word faith. And that's for y'all that's here now, as well as y'all later on. I see you over there on YouTube. What are the words or the few things that come to mind when you think about the word faith? Put it down in the comments as I read definition. So on here, I have here with the Webster's Dictionary that they have for faith. Faith is a noun. And I'll get back to that comment. I see it right there. Faith is a noun. First definition says allegiance to duty or a person. So that allegiance is loyalty. Second one, fidelity to one's promise. 2, sincerity of intentions. Another one, a belief and trust in and loyalty to God. Belief in traditional doctrines of a religion. Firm belief in something for which there is no proof. And another one, complete trust. And the last one, something that is believed, especially with strong conviction, especially a system of religious beliefs. So, those are those definitions for it. Again, I see that we got the brother coming. What you got is going on in here. And to get back to the comment section, the comments that we got right here, let me check it out. This dude, yo, what's
Nah,
good,
brother.
brother?
Letting
What's
my
the
hair grow out
word?
again.
I see. What's the word, brother?
Yo, the word is faith.
And we're gonna be talking about it, my G. But before we do that, man, shoot, how you been, brother? What's going on with you?
Look, man, I've been all right. I've been enjoying the roller coaster ride,
I
going
feel
through
it.
a wave of emotions, but it's cool. It's cool. It's what I signed up
Shot.
for.
Yes.
I'm good. I'm happy. I'm grateful. Like I'm not letting none of this. Well, I was talking to a friend the other day who's asking me the same thing, how I've been. Like, it's like uh, it's like the the world. Sometimes the weight of the world like brings you a little down, but
Mm.
all you can do is like. And my mom says this shit too. Either you try your best to stay afloat or you drown. So
Mm.
I'm staying afloat, and pretty soon I'm riding the wave. Pretty soon I'm like, right now it feels like I'm just trying to come up with gas for air and shit, gas for breath. Like,
Ah.
yeah, man,
We
this is
got you.
going on, but it's like, it's just like, it's growing pains. I recognize what it is. That's the thing, right? When you get to a level where it is for you, It's growing pains. Just getting older, moved up, uh, more responsibilities, more pressure. But without that pressure, what the fuck would I be doing, right? It's like it's so I you have to
Mm.
recognize why this is happening in the first place, and it's good. It's good. I feel like it's shaping me to be better, so I'm good.
Your experiences, your struggles, your pains, all of those that come together shape you to who you really are.
Yeah.
So
What
don't be
about you?
afraid of that. Bro, you lagging out and you missed the roboting it up a little bit. So I got you. Hold on. I wanna touch on freaking I want to touch on the comments that we got here, and then I'm gonna answer your question, my G. So they said, "What about the NYC subway shooting?" I saw it. I just personally didn't want to speak too much on it because I want to wait and see what other information comes out. But yes, there was a subway shooting in NYC City. They got the suspect supposedly, and supposedly the suspect also called in to tip off the police. So it's very interesting. I didn't want to read too much into it, so that's why I didn't put it up. But thank y'all for sharing that. If you want to look into that, just look up NYC subway shooting and you'll find it. Yeah, blind faith is an immediate word association. So interesting. I feel that. I feel that. Are you still with me, Freddie?
Yeah, we're good.
Yo, my man's. All right, just making sure because you circling on my side over here. But you was gonna ask me how am I doing? Yo, my man's. Yeah, bro. Check your internet connection, my G, and then come right back, bro. Cause it's lagging in and out.
Okay, cool.
Dang. Dang. But hold on. Yeah, come back in, G. Come on. He said we should talk. We should do pros and cons of faith. You already know we was gonna end up doing that. That's just how it just goes, for sure. But let's go ahead. Let's get this. We getting things adjusted, but we're still here on the topic about faith, y'all. And yes, I'm going to share with y'all my acronym for faith. Don't worry. Have
For sure.
faith. All right. See, now you're looking nice and clean, my man. All right.
It was going good for me.
Dang it. It's happening again, bro. I don't know
Oh,
where you are, bro, but you losing connection, my man.
that's so weird. Like my phone's good, but let me bounce back. Let me see if it's my phone, and then I'll talk to you right now.
Okay, for sure. See now I wants to chill a little bit, y'all. But hold on. All right, as that's going on, got the brother come back through real quick. But yeah, so again, y'all hear the word faith. Y'all, I've read it, I've heard about it. So it's like, okay, now what are we going to talk about specifically when it comes to faith? Well, there's a few things. One, we're going to talk about the whole concept of faith. You see, there's a few different setups from it. So we're going to go down those lines from the definitions of what that faith is. And the second thing, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to introduce, or I shouldn't say I'm going to introduce that. We're going to do the pros and cons of faith and talk about it. Then we're going to talk about why, again, we're going to do a why of why we have faith in anything. And then lastly, I'm going to share with y'all my acronym and explain it and see if it applies anywhere to any of this when it comes to quote unquote faith. But again, y'all more welcome to come through, come in. And if there's issues with internet, things of the source, we're going to work it out. But again, this is what makes the show is y'all combining along with me and having these convos. That's what makes this show. So I'm grateful for y'all for doing that. So we got more folks coming through, people coming in. So let's get this.
Hello.
What's going on, Kundan? What's the word?
What's the word? The word is faith.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So before you do all of that, how have you been? How's today been for you?
Today's good. I've I've been consistent with my daily creative vulnerability series that I do every morning, 10 a.m. PST, and I did one today, which is about showing people my creative process in real time, especially how much prep work is required. And it's based on the 4 stages of creativity by Graham Wallace. preparation, incubation, illumination, and verification and implementation. So
Mm,
on these slides, I mainly show people the preparation part of it,
yes.
because that's something that I can show in real time, you know. And I did that because not many creatives are willing to be vulnerable and show their process, you know, and
Yes.
that can make, you know, some of us feel lonely and scared because we underestimate, you know, how much time something takes to complete, and we beat ourselves up, you know, when we don't, and we call it writer's block, when
Yeah.
in reality it just means that you might need more time for either preparation or incubation. So we end up having less faith in ourselves and in our own creativity.
Mm.
So I'm helping people have more faith by doing these lives. Put me back in.
Oh, see, I see you tying it back in. All the cleverness between
Yeah.
you, Freddie, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I
All
want
right,
to
y'all.
I want to add something about faith because you were talking about the
Please
pros
do.
and cons, right?
We're about to. Not yet. We're about to. I
Okay,
was
okay.
gonna speak on it, but go ahead. But yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, 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 no.
Um, you got something
Wait,
or what?
you're spinning again and lagging.
Yo, internet don't like you right now, bro.
Lagging?
Now you
All right.
back.
Now you're back, yeah.
Let me know
And
if there's
Marley
a
says he's back. Then he starts lagging
Wait,
again.
you're still kind of blurry though. Oh, you're lagging again. Yeah.
This is weird.
Oh no, it
This is
don't
bad. This
like
is
you,
bad.
OG.
I'm in a weird little underground tunnel right now too, so maybe.
Oh, underground
Makes sense.
tunnel.
That makes sense.
Okay, that's why.
If y'all don't know, man,
Underground.
the wizard is everywhere, and the underground is where it's at, supposedly. So, you know,
If
but
I'm
yeah, bro.
lagging, I'm about to bounce out.
Okay, for sure. So far, you all right,
Peace.
bro. You all right for right now. All right. Again, getting into faith. Let's go ahead. We're gonna get into faith. Now, I'm gonna go through some of the. I'm gonna look at the definitions again. We're gonna talk from those perspectives of faith. So,
Mhm.
the first one of talking about faith, which they pair it with the word loyalty. So, what are your thoughts on when you have an allegiance to duty or to a person when it
Mm.
comes to faith? When you have faith in a person, what's your perspectives on that? Having faith in people. Let's put it at that.
Yeah, that's just belief in people, right? Or trusting people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how do y'all feel
And
about having trust and faith in people?
I believe in their humanity. But my attitude is there's a quote by James Baldwin, which actually I'm about to post tomorrow as an Instagram reel, in which he basically said, I don't have it in front of me, but if I remember correctly, he basically said that, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here, right?
Yes.
Uh, he basically said that we have to treat people like every person is a miracle, but also be real about the disaster they've become.
Mm. Hmm.
So that both end, right? And the
Yeah.
disaster they've become is because of colonial programming, white supremacist programming, etc., etc. So I feel like our human nature is a mixture of good and bad. That's what makes us whole, right?
Yeah.
But the colonial programming makes us more on the bad side or the manipulative side. You know, it makes, and so we have to be real about that too. So that's how I approach it. The both end. I'm like, I believe in humanity's inherent humanity.
Yeah.
My goal is to restore our humanity, which is our wholeness. You know, I believe in our wholeness, but I'm
Yes.
also real about how the colonial programming has really twisted that into becoming more violent and manipulative, and a lot of
Mm.
people might not even be intentionally manipulative.
Yeah.
It, they probably actually sincerely believe in their own manipulated programming that they've been programmed in, and they're behaving accordingly. They don't even know what they're doing in some cases, you know.
Woo.
Yeah,
It's a spinning of the spinning of the spinning within the spinning.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
that whole inner thought and
It's like
dialogue around that. That's
yeah. Hmm.
go ahead, Freddie.
you're so it's almost like your mind has been corrupted before you put your faith on somebody. right? Is that what you're saying?
I wish I could hear
Yeah,
you,
they
hip
have
hop.
to. Yeah, unfortunately, because of the way media manipulates people to behave in certain ways, yeah, I feel like they have to earn my trust. That it's not just that actions speak louder than words; it's actually patterns speak even louder than actions. You have to look
Mm,
at the patterns of behavior over a period of time before you can assess them.
yes, got you, man. I feel that. And another thing that comes to my mind when I'm hearing you
Oh,
speak
ID.
about that and say that too is the whole idea of benefit of the doubt, giving somebody the
Exactly.
benefit of the doubt. And sometimes it's very hard to do so because of the fact that, again, there's things that we have innately learned, or I even say you have to innately learn. It's just there within us versus what has been programmed and learned from the society that, again, can muddy and sullen that whole idea and your intentions behind things. So having faith in other people's intentions that you are unsure of sometimes
Yeah,
can be
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
difficult to know, to take, because again, people can take advantage, gaslight, manipulate, etc. But again,
I
on
mean,
the other side, it can
who do you
be,
have faith in?
mm,
Like people around you, like let's talk about that. Who do you have faith? You have faith in your friends. You have faith in a family. You have faith in a certain mentor. You have faith in a certain artist. Like who if there is a person on earth you have faith in, who is it and why? Right? I can honestly just say my mom
mm,
because
Oh, I found it.
yes,
of everything that she's done. It's like the mathematics, right? It's she's done nothing but show me that I can have faith in her. You know what I mean? I can only
yeah,
Mm,
I can only say that.
mhm.
I'm with
Yeah,
that. All right, go ahead. I
yeah.
know you had something right
Okay.
there, Cooney, because I know you
So,
found
I
something. You were
found
the
a
one that
quote
was
by.
typing. You was doing all that typing I was hearing, but go ahead.
So I found the quote by James Baldwin. He said, "This is from his book No Name in the Street." Uh,
Okay.
Incontestably, alas, most people are not in action worth very much, and yet every human being is an unprecedented miracle. One tries to treat them as the miracle they are, while trying to protect oneself against the disasters they've become.
Mm, that's powerful. Again. So
Yeah,
again, knowing the fact that we're human beings, but at the same time, protecting yourself because us as human beings are still flawed.
exactly.
At
Hmm.
least that's my interpretation from it. But to answer the question again, for who do you have faith in? I agree with Freddie. A lot of that you put your faith in again from those that are around you that you've gotten to know. For me, I would agree too. I got that from my mom. I've learned, of course, who she is and what she does. So I have faith in certain things. I know she's gonna do, and other things I do like what James Baldwin is doing, and I protect myself from some of those stuff. And likewise with other family members and very close friends who, to me, y'all are just extended family. Both of y'all are added to that, and it all just comes down to, again, that's where I feel I can put that. There's always going to be a risk of a lot of things. So what are you willing to risk? Are you really willing to risk, maybe some upsetment, some disappointment, or are you willing to risk there's going to be on the other opposite side that you're going to have some revelations as well as great times and just memories to append upon. So again, it's all up to y'all. But that's when we're talking about having faith in people. Now, the next faith, and you already was alluding to it earlier, because honestly, every time I hear the word faith, I'm not going to lie to you. I agree with you, Kundan. But anytime I hear the word faith, it goes straight to religion. So let's go ahead and let's talk about faith in the aspects of trust and loyalty in God or just in religion.
Hmm.
I'm going to say,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's where the word association, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blind faith for me comes from. It's interesting how like words have automatic subconscious associations. Like it's not even that I have a negative view of faith, but subconsciously
Yeah.
the word association already exists. Similar to how when you think about money, like what's the first thing? that comes up for you, right? For some
Yes.
people, it is money is the root of all evil, right? It's an
Mm-hmm.
immediate word association. So that's what
Yes.
I was alluding to when I said, blind faith. And yes, it does come from, a religious reference, or really more of an anti-religious reference, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
since people who use the term blind faith are actually speaking out against, religion in general, but also more specifically Christianity in particular,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And having that particular faith,
Mm-hmm.
I want us to look at, again, we can look at, since we already have it there, we're going to look at it in this particular case. Look at the pros and cons into having religious. I'm not talking about spiritual. I'm not talking about any other type of that faith, but having religious faith, the pros and cons.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not religious in that sense. I'm slowly becoming religious in a different way, like just reclaiming my indigenous Hindu and Buddhist,
Yes.
which in the West they keep trying to pin us into just spiritual because they
Yeah.
want to keep stealing from us, and that's another whole other thing where like we have to keep reclaiming that no, it is a religion also, and then that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, just because you don't like Christianity doesn't mean indigenous religions are bad.
Yep.
So yeah, but yeah, I used to go to a lot of these Christian churches, right? So even though I
Mm,
don't know, I've never formally converted to Christ, and I can never really be totally in their shoes. I do have some idea
yeah.
of where they're coming from. I think the pro in that sense might be, often a lot of these people, if they have good intentions, if they're not trying to be manipulative, right, which
Yeah.
can also happen in some cases, uh, then they're just feeling lonely and having a religious faith in God as something bigger than themselves, but specifically God for them is very particular, right? And a
Mm-hmm.
very specific kind of God, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the pro is that they just feel less lonely and they feel more supported and guided, and they might even feel a sense of community from going to church,
Mm-hmm.
they feel a sense of self connection from having the Bible as something to read or depend on. They don't feel so lost,
Yes.
there's something guiding them, right?
Yes.
Even if, the thing guiding them might eventually mislead them or something, right? But in that moment, they feel guided and not lonely. And
Yes.
that's the pro for them. Yeah.
Yes, and I like how you brought that up because that was gonna be my main thing. Because I keep saying it and I keep bringing it up is so important. That's a part of this journey in general. Is not just about you running your race. It's about also the connections that you make along this journey. So anything
Mm-hmm.
that you get yourself into to help you have a not only a balance but also just a firm structure.
Mm-hmm.
If it again with good intentions and it sets you up for you to be a better version of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
go for it. And really want you to do that. And as you get through it, you'll learn that later on, a lot of this stuff, especially again, this is an acronym I've gotten from the church for Bible. Yes, I'm throwing more acronyms out there, and I've said this one before, but the Bible has an acronym that's basic instructions before leaving Earth. So these are some
Mm-hmm.
basic set foundational stuff that at least if you don't really get vibe with or really feel the whole idea of religion, Christianity, whatever it may end up being, you can at least get these basic foundation teachings that you can use it to help you, of course, prolong or move forward in your life. And then you quest further on to figure out, okay, where's the immediate? Where's the events? Where's my whole connection to spirituality, religion, and philosophy just in total. So I agree with you when it comes to that. It's something really for it to help give some type of structure as well as connection. Another positive thing I'll say about um, religion religion in particular, or having faith in God, is being able to quote unquote not gonna say the word. I mean, I say the word because people get mad at it, but submit in a particular. And what I mean by submit is being able to let go sometimes. When you know something is very difficult, you know something is like super hard, that it's like, yo, like I'm trying to control this little small thing or this other thing over here so much to a point where that is just causing me more grief and pain. And sometimes it's just better to go ahead and just let it be and let it go. Because at the end of the day, there's only one person that you can control or have that type
Mm-hmm.
of autonomy over, and that's yourself. So that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing, at least from religion, and with deep within all of that stuff, is being able to have that sense of like submission and being able to let go of
Mm-hmm.
certain things. It's a pro.
I want to add one more thing to it because what I just said, right, to be clear, is specifically the pro of specifically having Christian faith, right?
Yes.
Or even Muslim faith or Jewish faith, like any monotheistic religious faith, right?
Yeah.
But in my religious faith in particular, it's not monotheistic.
Poly.
It's more poly. It's more and my faith is more Hindu religious, right?
Yeah.
And Hinduism, by the way, is a pluralism, meaning that
Pluralism.
yes, we have polytheism, but guess what? We also have atheism in Hinduism. Most people don't know this,
Wow.
and it's very different from the Western atheism. Western atheism, ironically, is a reaction to Christianity, and because it's a reaction to Christianity, they behave just like the Christians.
Mm.
They're trying to spread their faith. They're trying to proselytize, convince everyone that God doesn't exist. And if you don't believe like them, they will look down on you and act like they're superior. It's the same thing. It's two sides of the same coin. Whereas the Hindu atheism is totally different. Hindu atheists don't go around trying to convince everyone that that their belief is the superior one or that you're inferior if you don't. Now we do have debates, at
Yes.
least we used to back in the day before the colonizers. We do have actual fair debates in a structured setting, right? But we don't go around in the street corner yelling at people like these Bible thumpers as well as the Western atheists too.
Yeah.
So to be clear, my Hindu religious faith is a belief. It makes me feel less lonely in a different way. It's not because I believe in this one single, sky god who's trying to either punish me to hell or send me to heaven, right? That's
Yeah.
not it. For me, my religious faith is a faith in an interconnected collective intelligence that's greater than me, and that tapping into it literally gives me a sense of community, not just because there are people around. It makes me literally connected to all of nature when I tap into that. And when I pray nowadays, when I listen to my mantras, the Hindu mantras,
Yes.
my only wish is to be blessed with intelligence. When I say intelligence, I mean that collective intelligence, not the intelligence, the Western intelligence that pretends to be superior to everyone. No, it's more an equalizing intelligence that's like tapped
Shared.
into the collective intelligence, right? Like we have scientists right now, right, who are always surprised by animal intelligence. Recently they discovered that crows, are not only intelligent, they know that they know, just like human beings. Human beings are aware that we're aware.
Yeah.
We know that
Oh.
they found out that crows also have it, right? Uh, and they always act so surprised. They're like, ooh, this is so surprising. It's not surprising to me because I believe we're equal to nature, that we're part of nature. I don't believe I'm superior to nature.
Yeah.
They've discovered that even mushrooms have a language. They have 50 mushrooms speak with a language containing at least 50 words. The electrical signal are equivalent to the language of human beings.
Oh.
There are unique electrical signals up to 50 that Western scientists have documented so far. And again, they act so surprised. They're like, ooh, even mushrooms that have no brains are so intelligent they have 50 words. Yeah, of course. Because intelligence is about being tapped into the collective.
Yes.
That's the real intelligence. It's not about having brains or bigger brains or neurons. It's literally about being tapped into that collective intelligence. That's my faith.
Look it. I'm gonna go straight into it. Look it. What's the word we have? We have intelligence. The
Yeah.
intel. How do you get intel? Intel coming in from inside, and you telling yourself about, again, the information. The information comes from
Mm.
within. So I mean, that's how you have intelligence. You know, that's just me quickly breaking the word down. But again, it could be a whole group of other stuff. You can do the research on the words of that. But Freddie, I saw that you
Hmm.
had something that you wanted to say. Hopefully, you remembered it. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say that pros and cons about having
Ah,
faith.
man.
You hear me? Am I glitching?
Are you good? You good right now?
Okay, so I was saying like, if you were to tell me, I don't know, 10 people that you and you too, Kundan, like people that you see as successful, someone that you know you want to be, like that you admire, like all these great people that have ever existed. Um, how much of those motherfuckers had faith? And
Hmm.
everybody that I can think of in my book that is a successful person, dead or alive, they spoke about having faith. And you know, you have people winning. I don't know, like Grammys. You have people winning belts in fights. You have people winning whether in sports or like any type of award. Like people that are successful, the most successful in their field. You know, they ask them. You know, they give them the mic for a couple minutes, and you know, one of the things they always mention is how much faith they had in God and in the people around them, that you know they give thanks to their family, to their team. It's like that's all
Mm.
faith right there. You know, it's you felt like you
Mm.
were gonna make it, and you did because of God or because of this that. And then you look at someone who's not successful, someone who's maybe even miserable in life, like they don't have faith. You know, so then you think of what faith is. It's like you know, like yeah, it's like it's this invisible power. You can't explain it. You can't tell nobody why did you feel it, but you do. You know it's gonna work, and you try. You bet all your chips in it, and everybody looks at you like you're crazy. But it's like nah, like I believe it's I have the faith. It's gonna happen, and like why? And then you'll never know until you become one of those people. And so faith is something that I recognize amongst the greats. And you know, one day I want to be great. So best believe that I'm gonna figure out my own type of faith because everybody has a different type of faith.
Yes.
Um, there's similar kinds, but it's different for everybody. You know,
Yep.
I was just watching the Kanye documentary. The faith that he had,
Yeah.
not everybody has that kind of faith, bro. Like this
Mm.
guy had
Mm.
another type of faith. Like that's all I'm
Mm.
gonna say.
Gotcha.
That's my take on faith.
That's what's up. That's dope, and that's what's up. And I'm gonna share my take on
Awesome.
my take on that faith, and share with you what I found to become my faith later on. But continue on with that. I agree on wholeheartedly again on both of y'all's parts of y'all sharing about faith and religion. And the other thing I wanted to throw back on both of y'all, and it's either it could be a yes or no or explain a little bit more, is does having this faith or belief in a God also a part of the system? And the reason why I say that is because we have, of course, our monetary and capitalism. We have what in God we trust, you know, pledge allegiance to the flag, one nation under God, and these
Mm.
different sorts. Is it also built into the system for us to have faith because of the fact that for the system to work, we must have faith? But go ahead.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
say faith and shit like that is for poor people. I've heard
The
that.
opium of the poor,
Yeah, that
right?
is from
Yeah,
Karl
I've heard
Marx.
by
That's
somebody.
Karl
bro,
Marx.
Huh?
it's both.
Okay.
It's both. And
Yeah.
I was just telling my homie the other day, and I didn't even think of this as an example, but this is a perfect example. Um, it's another. This is just another one of those times where people that are in charge of shit are able to use knowledge to corrupt us again. It's like you're there's truth in this information,
Yeah.
but all truth can be flipped. You know what I mean? You've all heard there's a saying that the devil knows the Bible, forwards and backwards, and you can take what you want from that. But what I take is that when something becomes absolute knowledge,
Yeah.
and if you understand knowledge to that degree, you're able to flip that shit. And it's almost like I can lie to you with the truth. That's the fucking crazy wicked part. But that's kind of what is happening here. It's like, let me tell you the truth, but in the form of a lie. I don't know if you're following me. I'm pretty sure you are, but that's kind of
Yeah.
what that is.
Yeah. I was trying to play a
Well, I
little bit, but go
always
ahead.
say that they always sprinkle little bits of truth in a bowl of lies.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's how they manipulate you, because that way you can't call them out, right? Because if you start calling them out, a lot of people will say who believe in it or who went through a journey of believing in it. They go, oh, but it helped me. Yeah, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course it helped you,
Yep. That
but it's
same.
still harmful. Like,
Man. No, keep going. No, you had that. Keep going. You was on this thing. Keep going.
yeah, even a broken clock is right twice a day. That's what I was going to say. But to your point about whether it's part of the system, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's important, it's imperative to be very like specific and clear about what you believe in and what you're talking about.
Yes.
And unfortunately, here in the United States, they've really blurred the lines
Mm-hmm.
because they want everyone to be secular, right? They want us to assimilate. And so there's this blurred lines belief that, oh, it's all the same. No, it's not all the same. Each expression of the divine, right,
Yeah.
is encoded with the moral code of the people who believed in that particular archetype, right? So the Christian God is encoded with a particular archetype. Hinduism's Kali is encoded with a particular archetypal energies. What New Age people call universe,
Yeah.
right, is encoded with particular archetypal energies. If you believe in Zeus, the Greek god, that's also encoded with a particular archetypal energy. And so if you try to like invoke any of these,
Mm.
yes, there are similarities because we're human beings. Human beings create similar things. We're all human, but because it's encoded with particular archetypal energies, you will start manifesting those things, and it can fuck you up. It's gonna be a case of fuck around and find out if you don't know what you're doing, especially
Mm.
if there's no alignment between those archetypal energies. Because if you don't have any connection with them, those deities themselves might not like you fucking wrong with them.
Mm.
Or they may not like your ancestors either.
Yeah.
That can be possible too. They might do you some, they might really mess you up because they don't like your ancestors. That can also be possible because, like I said, each one is encoded with a particular archetypal energy. So yeah, be careful what you put faith in. It's not all the same. So it's not only is it about the system wanting you to believe in,
Yeah.
there's another layer to it. Each of these deities are encoded with these archetypal energies of the culture who encoded them with their moral code.
Yes. Mm. And you heard it. Now, next question I got for y'all, and then after that, I'm gonna share my acronym and my sense of faith, and then round it out about there if y'all have any more to add with it. But my next question I have, and we can elaborate more on it. Do do you need concrete proof to have faith in something? Do you need concrete proof to have faith in something? I'm not just only talking about religion. I'm just talking about in your abilities and whether your car going to start. Do you need concrete belief to have faith in something?
I mean, for the practical matters like the car, like you're saying, or the stove working, or the heater and electricity working, I need some level of proof. Although even with electricity, right, with the light switching on and off, like I don't even know how this actually works, right? I have some idea from physics and engineering, but I have faith that the light will turn on when I, turn it on, right? Even though I don't even know the details of exactly how this thing works, right? So to a certain extent, you need some proof, but I feel like even with the practical matters,
Yes.
you don't always need total proof. Like even your car, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how your car works when you drive? You don't know,
Only
right? But you
mechanics
have
and
faith
those
that
who
it
really love
works. Yeah,
cars know, but
yeah, yeah. But most people don't, right? And
yeah,
they're driving their car. They have faith that their car is going to work.
yeah. Okay. All right. What about you, Freddie?
No,
Oh man.
no, no,
Man,
no.
you about to have some more faith in your internet connection over here.
Can you see and hear me,
I
Calvin?
can hear you, but you're frozen on my screen now. So all I see is
You're
your
invisible,
previous
and we
pose.
have faith that you're there.
Oh, I'm frozen too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see me?
I see you moving around.
Okay.
What if I leave and come back? Maybe I should leave and come
You can
back so
leave
you
and
can
come back if
actually.
you want. That's fine. You definitely can. But all right, Freddie,
Okay.
go again, Freddie, because you again started circling for a quick second. So say that one more time.
Did you see what I typed?
Yes, yeah, fully aware in the holy. That's faith to you. What's the holy then? Explain it. Explain it, bro. Explain it.
I was just trying to break down the words.
This man.
um, no, but yeah, like, look, man, I'm gonna share a little story.
Go ahead.
I remember when I was younger and being a little rebellious, which I'm still doing the same shit. I remember my mom was all like, I was being a little rebel to like religion and to like going to church. And, like I was that kid that was arguing with the priest and shit, asking him all these questions, and I was a lot of them were never really answered. And I remember I was like, man, I'm not really about this anymore.
Yeah.
And obviously, my family, parents didn't like that because I was very vocal about it. I wasn't the kid that kind of kept it to myself. I let everybody know, like, yo, I don't really believe this shit. But respectfully, right? I'm
Mm,
not gonna
yeah.
fucking argue with my family like that.
Yeah.
And then one day, my mom was like, "Oh, like you're gonna believe one day." And I was like, you know what? I was open minded too. Like maybe, but right now I don't.
Yeah.
Years later, in my own pursuit of just knowledge and truth, right? I come to find out that everything was true. Just the way that they flipped it on us wasn't.
Mm,
And and that shit fucked my whole shit up, you know. And ever since I understand, like, oh, like having faith, and it's just one of those things that something's gonna happen to you one day, good or bad, however the fuck you take it.
yeah.
But it's gonna make you realize something, and especially right now, you have these people walking around with like a god complex, thinking that they're the center of everything, and whatever what they say goes, and fucking social media has a lot to do with this, by the way. Everybody
Yeah.
thinks they're famous. Everybody thinks they got a following, and there's some sort of fucking prodigy. And I've seen that. I've seen that in people where it's like, bro, chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, but they got to go through their own little journey. But you wake up one day, you realize you're just a fucking variable, bro. You're just a little piece in this whole thing, and and then you're kind of forced to have faith because you don't know what's gonna happen, but your
Mm,
intention is set, and when you set your intention, it's like, hey, like I I hope this goes the way it goes. I prepared myself to
mm,
the fullest, but at the end of the day, it's not my plan; it's God's plan, and I have faith that it will go in my favor. But even if it doesn't, it's like what had to happen happened,
yeah.
and that's just kind of how I live life. And I'm not saying I'm right,
Yeah.
but it feels right for me to live that way because if I didn't live that way, I would just be complaining and unsure of things and just like unhappy, you know. And for me, leaving my faith in knowing that there's something greater than me, it puts me at ease. You know, it's like I'm more like laid back. It's like I'm gonna do my best, but at the end of the day, it's like it is what it is. It's gonna happen the way it's gonna happen. And people
Mm,
that try to uh, have everything in control,
yeah.
they suffer.
mm,
So you
Mm,
realize you're not in control. You fucking you'll back into this bliss of like, hey, I'm just a fucking little piece of the whole fucking. You know what I mean?
yes.
That's my thing. Some people agree with
Okay.
me, some people don't, but that's kind of how I flow with everything.
mm,
Hmm. I hear that, bro. And again, that takes time for people to get themselves acquainted and, firm within whatever their faith or what they believe or what they subscribe to in that
And that's
particular
me.
case.
That's me as like Freddy, as like a brother, as a son, as a friend, right?
All your archetypes, all of them.
Right. But then there's me as a like yo. Then there's but because you have to understand, right? Balance. You
Yeah.
know, balance is ancient. People have been talking about yin and the yang, and it's like, you know what I mean. It's this fucking night and day. It's like there's a balance to life, and you know that's I'm talking about the balance right now where I'm just kind of flowing, right?
Yeah.
And then like yo, some shit, you know, when my back's against the fucking wall, it's time to go on some wizard shit. Then I'm on wizard mode. Then I fucking do everything in my power to set everything. You know what I mean? It's but you have to understand that you play two parts. And one day my eyes woke up to that. I always thought I was just in one on one side of the game, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm actually fucking. There's a duality in me as a man, and in me as I have a foot here and a foot there. It's like I started to understand it a little more like zoomed out, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit. So understanding like this order and chaos of life, you can't you can't live too much in chaos,
Mm,
and you can't live too much in order. And
mm.
order is an illusion that the system puts out. But then that's one order, and then I'm talking about the order in your life. There's two types of
There's a
orders,
natural
and then
order, and then there is authority.
yeah,
Okay,
perfect,
but
exactly,
continue.
you said it right. And then chaos, there's natural chaos, right? Life just fucking does what it does, and then there's the chaos that you create.
Yeah.
So
mm,
you have to take all of this into consideration, and then like and then it's well, how do I feel waking up this morning? Did I wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or you know? Then it's just that. Then it's just how do you feel? Sometimes I wake up and I'm in a really good mood. Sometimes I wake up and I'm fucking pissed and I want to break shit. Is that bipolar or is that my soul just fucking doing its thing? Or yo,
Yeah.
but being aware of it, be aware of it, because when you're not aware of it, that's when shit isn't really that fun because you're kind of just you're like a default character getting pushed around, right? When
Yeah.
you're aware, it's like you feel that responsibility, and it's like, all right, but let's get down to business. And yeah, man, but that it's a whole it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's cool though. At the end of the day, you know, it makes you laugh, makes you smile. It's like I always tell myself, hey, like you know, people always talk about why me, and I tell myself, look, I probably signed myself up for this shit. I
Mm,
probably, you know what I mean? I probably chose every single detail about my life, and I said, let's do it. How the fuck do I know I don't? But I'd rather see it like that.
mm.
mm. Bro, you
And
are not in the underground. You at work. Because I heard
I'm at
that
work.
bell.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, but I love that the whole flowing of what you're saying. Shouts out to the folks in here. Water don't stop flowing. Order is insanity, and what is real life? Is those are just very existential, quantum mechanic, just out of your
Yeah.
mind, thoughts. But it's great. But again, it's great to explore those things because at the end of the day, it lets you know how not only expansive again your mind is, but how expansive your reach can be into all these different areas just for you to find, again, your sense of balance and your sense of faith, which I don't know, Kundan, if you have a point that you want to add with what Freddie has said before I move to my next thought and then my acronym, but go ahead if you do.
Yeah, that's a good point about, natural order and natural chaos versus artificial order and artificial chaos, right? I think that's key. That I because it's the both and, right?
Yeah.
And even in the science of chaos theory, they found out that there's chaos inside order and then order inside chaos, and it's just this infinite loop, like a
Mm,
Russian doll, right?
yeah.
Uh, and yeah, I actually wrote a story a while ago called, in which I made, I said that the god of light and order versus the goddess of chaos and darkness, and I basically flipped it around. Because often, light and order are seen as good, whereas darkness and chaos are seen as evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
In pop culture. So and that's why I flipped it around and I made, the goddess of chaos and darkness the hero of the story and made their god of light and order the villain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just and I went into that extreme just because that's what's necessary to flip the pop culture narrative, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, it's the both and, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is about it's more about natural versus artificial because in both cases there is natural order, natural chaos versus artificial order, artificial chaos. And what is bad is when chaos as well as order are artificially induced to manipulate people. That's
Mm-hmm.
what's harmful.
Mm-hmm. Again, sprinkling a bit of truth in that bowl of lies. Again. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
so my next thing I want to add before I talk about my acronym for faith is for those listening and for us earlier. Freddie was talking about how for him having the faith that he has, it puts him at ease for basically being connected to something either greater within of self or finding a way. From y'all too, from y'all's perspectives, how would you or what would you recommend to people to help strengthen their faith?
Mm.
Because we're talking about it so much, and now I'm trying to like add in a piece of like we talk about faith, we say this, say that, say this. But then some people, again, like you're saying, maybe not even with those who are atheists, because it's a reaction to certain things, or folks saying since they're not that successful, like Fred was saying earlier, that they have no faith and they're just walking through life as is. Then where is that
What's the
line?
opposite
Then,
of faith?
what do you think the opposite of faith may be?
Yeah, and I'm thinking of that right now. What would be the opposite of faith, right? So like,
Oh, dang. Only reason why I thought about that, the opposite of faith I thought in my head was apathy, but I may be wrong.
Or it might be doubt actually, right?
Doubt.
The opposite would be
Doubt.
doubt,
doubt.
right?
Yeah.
So what the fuck? What good is doubt? What has doubt done any good? Yeah, I'm pretty sure, right? Like, you doubt it was gonna happen, and you're right, and then there's like, but look,
See,
I
there's a
guess what I'm
difference.
getting,
Look, there's a difference between, again, a healthy amount of doubt, aka I like to call questioning, versus, same thing with
Or
faith.
healthy skepticism, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but go ahead,
Yeah.
Freddie. Go ahead.
are you doubt? Look, it's one thing when you doubt. Um, I don't know. Let's say I don't know. You just got a car and off the street and it's making a weird sound. And it's like, oh shit, doubts, and you get me home, and that's like an educated doubt. It's like, oh, this is not good. This car's kind of fucked up, and you doubt it, and like, and then because of that doubt, you just park the fucking car, and you got someone to come fix it and look at it, and for sure something was wrong with it. It was a doubt of like of and then like an educated doubt, but then
Mm-hmm.
there's like a doubt where you're just doubting yourself, and what do you have to support that doubt? And if it's just like, oh, well, I failed so many times in my life and gonna fail again, so I keep doubting myself, or is it like,
That's a self-fulfilling
just a
prophecy,
self
but continue.
self-esteem issue? It's like, yeah, there's different types of doubts. The same way, we're talking about different types of faiths, but would you rather be someone who has doubt or someone who has faith? And it's kind of like a, a what is the half empty, half full, right? For the glass, like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like
Yeah.
optimistic, pessimistic. Are you doubtful? Are you faithful? Um, and then, like, you talk about having a leap of faith. Is there
Yes.
such thing as a leap of doubt? Like, I'm just gonna doubt because I feel like it's the best thing to doubt myself right now, or
Yeah.
I don't know, because when I think of faith, I think of a leap of faith. It's like I have no clue. This might not work. This might not work. But or regular life, and if this doesn't work, this what I read one day that said if you don't sacrifice your life for what you want becomes a sacrifice. So rather
Mm-hmm.
fuel myself up with faith that it is gonna work instead of
Mm-hmm.
doubt that it's not gonna work. And it's
Yes.
just I was watching a video too. Like some people wake up and everything that happens to them and their whole day, there's a way that they perceive it, and you
Yeah.
perceive things because of how you are. Um, so it's kind of like, yeah, would you rather have doubt or would you rather have faith, and why?
Mm.
So yeah,
That's, again, that's very powerful. I'm glad you brought that up. There is definitely, I would say, it's that interplay of that balancing act with it. But I would say, adding to your point, for me personally, I'll have, of course, a lot more faith than I do doubt. If I were to give percentages, there's definitely a higher percentage. I'll probably say maybe 80-20 at this point, like 80-20 faith and then 20 with the doubt. Reason why is because, again, your perspective, whether you're using it for reasons to help you dig deeper into stuff, or are you using it as a defense mechanism against something that you're super unsure of and not confident within yourself to explore? Because that's sometimes where doubt, faith, and a number, not for doubt, fear come together and become, again, your group of friends, because of the fact that when you doubt something is because of the fact that it's the fear of you don't know what's going to happen, and you have not the confidence to back up what's happening. So again, going back to the point of faith and having some type of concrete proof, at times, yes, you do need that to help yourself overcome the doubt and overcome the fear. But again, writing it all back together, how do you, or what do you recommend for folks to help them find that faith, or at least strengthen their faith?
Well, the first thing, going back to what I said in the beginning, right, is to define for themselves what they even mean by faith to themselves, right?
Yes.
And then second, to define for themselves exactly what they have faith in, right? And to
Mm-hmm.
really do the due diligence and research and study on what that particular thing that they have faith in,
Yes.
what moral code it's been encoded with,
Yes.
and to be very, very clear that it's in total alignment with you and your own cultural, lineage and history and things like that.
Yes.
Like I think that is key, that alignment, and to be very clear about the moral code that's encoded with, and to make sure it's fully aligned. That's the first step,
Yes.
and after that, then it's just about building a relationship with that deity over time, just like a friendship with, with you and I,
Yeah.
right? It's just about building that connection, once you're clear on exactly what moral code has been encoded with. Because, you
Yes.
know, Freddie asked about, the antonyms basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly enough, there's a lot of antonyms. There's fear, doubt, suspicion,
Yes.
um,
I haven't pulled it up. I pulled
foreboding,
it up.
foreboding,
Yes.
even though they're all like, they all mean different things. And
Mm-hmm.
even like atheism, agnosticism, and cynicism are also antonyms. But what's the most interesting antonym for me within this context is confusion. Is also one of the antonyms of faith, which means that the solution to that confusion is clarity.
Clarity.
So
Yep.
again, you have to have clarity on what you even have faith in. What moral code is the thing that you have faith in encoded with, and what cultures does it come from? What history does it come from? And then to build that relationship.
Yes. I'm so glad that you went into that whole spiel and did that, because again, it really comes down to you not only being aware, but really taking the time to really want to learn this stuff and really know what you know, instead of only somewhat surface know about what you know just because your family members or your uncle down the street or your cousin or your friend knows about it. Taking it on and making it your own and knowing why you believe, you have faith in whatever you do, it gives you a better ground to,
Yeah.
again, go further into questions. So before you do, brother, before you do,
Oh,
I want to
one more
answer.
thing. I just saw something fascinating because doubt is one of the antonyms of faith, right?
Yeah,
Which makes sense. But interestingly enough, another antonym for faith is final answer. I'm like, what?
final answer for faith.
Final answer is put as one of the antonyms,
Antonyms.
not
Oh, okay.
synonyms,
Yeah,
as the opposite of faith, which means faith is not about having a final
final
answer.
answer. Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, there is a relationship between faith and doubt.
Yeah,
And if you can have a healthy relationship between the
faith.
two,
Mm-hmm.
have that sweet spot, that's key as well. Because
Yes.
faith is not about having a final answer.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that
Yeah,
too, Kuna, because
yeah,
you basically, I was
yeah.
about to answer Gabe's question saying is doubt
Uh,
necessary, and yes, it is. You just ended up saying a healthy
mm,
combination of those both. And why can't we
mm-hmm,
just be honest with ourselves? You use that process to help you become honest with yourself, because you don't need. You gotta figure out like how. Honestly, a lot of that goes back to what you were saying earlier, Gabe, too, about putting in there. You put in self-love. For me, that's that beginning foundation, that knowledge of self, of having that self-love, because that's when you can necessarily be a lot of honest with yourself. Because it's really up to
mm-hmm,
you if you want to be better, if you want to, create an environment for yourself to keep pushing forward. That's all up to you. As well as the reason why I say that, and I agree with Kunin that, a healthy amount of doubt is necessary is because I went and looked up the definition just so we can have some background. Because sometimes, again, these definitions can work, but then at the same time, it's up to you how you want to define this stuff, and you add it to help you. The first definition for faith says to call into question the truth of. So sometimes for you to really be
mm-hmm,
able, this is doubt, to call into the question of the truth of. Because sometimes you have to certainly doubt things, because if somebody comes, and I use the analogy a lot because I do, if somebody comes to you randomly with a platter of cookies right in front of your face, are you just going to grab for the cookie that's on the plate? Or are you going to doubt and ask questions of, okay, why are you bringing me this plate? Okay, where did these cookies come from? Okay, how did you bake these cookies? Just because, again, it could end up being a platter of poison. It could be something very delicious. You might be allergic. Again, you have to ask these questions. And if you don't necessarily ask the questions, you can get, again, we get into that blind faith. You just run into whatever. Oh, this is God's plan. Whatever it is. Anything that happens, it takes, I'm going to take it just because. Oh, there's a shot out. Oh, I'm going to take the shot. Oh, shoot, there's a movie that just came out and it's $10 million. I'm going to go watch it. Okay, I'm going to just go do it. I don't know. I'm going to go into debt, but I'm going to just do it. It's that filter. So having that doubt
Where you go inside?
is a
Yeah.
great
mm-hmm.
way to have, again, that filter to
Yeah,
be
go
like,
inside, bro.
okay, there's enough faith to be like, okay, this is going to work out. But at the same time, to be like,
Nah,
okay, to what extent, the boundary. But
nah,
go ahead.
nah.
Right. Yeah, because at
Nah,
first
nah.
it was very like, no, no.
Are you singing
At
the
first it
song
was
now?
very, at first it was very counterintuitive and surprising because I would have thought, final answer would be a synonym of faith rather than the
Mm-hmm.
antonym. But it's actually very revealing and very telling that it's actually final answer is the antonym, the opposite of faith, because faith includes humility and having a healthy sense of mystery. So it's not about having a final answer.
Yeah, because your faith can change over time.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Now, on to this next part, and then we'll move to the last topic for tonight. Um, I wanted to share again my acronym for faith, and this is how honestly I move beyond of me not identifying as religious, somewhere between the spiritual, but more so just living life through a philosophy that I've taken on for myself. But my
Mm,
acronym that I have for faith basically is focusing attention internally to heal. And for
mm,
me, that's what faith is for me personally. Is being able to start within self and fix those things with self, build that foundation on self. So once you have faith in self, you've been focusing your energy internally to heal yourself. You can then use that energy outward to help yourself accomplish whatever you want and whatever you want to push that faith in. But it starts with
Mhm.
yourself.
Exactly. It's focusing, attention internally to heal, because once you start having that self-awareness, you never ever have that final answer, but you get more and more clear every single day. It's a constant journey, until you die. It's just a constant discovery of more and more answers, but never a final answer. So that makes sense.
Yes. Again, my acronyms they come at places and times where I'm just chilling and they make sense. That one actually came out of a meditative or a
Mm,
meditation session years ago, and I've just ran with that for me. So I've had that acronym with me for years, and it's made so much sense to me. So that's why I call it more so again of a philosophy, and then for me, spiritual is another whole sense of learning about metaphysics, all that other different things. But for me, it's more of building a philosophy, also surrounding different values, morals, ethics, as well as just knowledge. And just for me, I'm just not cookie cuttering, but I'm taking piece and parts from everywhere that makes sense to me and making it my own, so that literally this is how I move and this is what makes sense, at least to me, and I share it. But that's faith for
mm.
me.
Is there such thing as having too much faith?
Oh, 1,000%.
Right?
Yes. There's
Um,
everything, bro. Overabundance is a thing, bro,
yeah, yeah.
regardless. But go ahead.
And then I was watching this I think Pharrell talking to Kanye about like even when you do make it, he's like still doubt yourself. And I was like, oh shit, I was like, damn, like,
Mm,
cause that's where like the hungry comes in. It's like you still don't think you're that good. You keep, it's like I think someone who's really good at doing that is like someone like J. Cole,
mm,
um, motherfuckers like that you fucking feel it in their music how they're still trying to. They proved it already, but they keep on proving it. Like if they have something to prove, which is they don't because
yes.
they're fucking dope. But it's like that thing where again, right, finding a balance between this, like that's where like a lot of my truth lies, and it's because yeah, what you're saying is true, but even that could be bad in the long run.
Yeah.
So even the faith that I have, I know like okay, is this faith or is this me being a little fucking crazy and emotional, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of going do a little too much right now, and it's not faith anymore. It's just me like what I mean. It's you gotta
Yeah.
like knowledge of self, man. Get to know yourself. Spend time alone, and that's where it's at. Because then you
Yes.
then you start to see real shit. So
Yes.
look, I'm gonna bounce out. I'm gonna get busy right now, but I think to end it off with like, yeah, having faith is good, man. Having faith is real, and I hear people talking about like, oh, I lost faith in humanity. It's like, no, you lost faith in your fucking
Self.
self.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mhm.
a lot of things that I hear people saying and regurgitating, and like, it's like, bro, like, bro, like, I'm at a point where like, I see everything like you're talking about yourself. People can talk to me about whatever,
Yeah.
but I see, look, the older I get, the clearer I'm able to see that you're talking about yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, man, I have faith in myself. So I think, and
Yes.
earlier when you were telling me how I've been, like,
Yeah.
no matter what happens, like, I've gone through shit already. Like, I've I've been tested and 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 I call it moments of truth. You can talk all this
All
shit
right,
about
gang
yourself.
star.
Yeah, you can speak highly about yourself. Everybody does, but there's moments that are gonna happen, and you're gonna see how real you really are. So I
Mm,
feel, I'm young too, so it is what it is. But I feel like for the most part, I have faith in myself and peace. Wizard out.
peace and love, brother. Peace and love,
Peace
man.
out.
Thank
Talk
you.
soon.
Thank you.
Kundan.
Thank
Peace
you.
out.
Okay.
Gabe,
Hey,
everybody.
bro. All right. Low key before you leave. You gonna be there Saturday?
I'm trying to make it out. Yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna make my way over there Saturday.
I might be with family. I might not. I'm gonna see what's up.
All right, bro. But if we do, man, you
Peace.
already know it's always love.
Yeah,
Peace.
no, yeah, hell yeah. Kick it. Show. Later.
Later. Um.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, to his point too, I think too much faith would turn into total certainty, which is actually uh, the same as final answer, which is the opposite of faith.
Yes.
That's basically what it is.
Yes. And I know we
Yeah.
we didn't. I just want to touch on we kind of did, but basically again, to either end of whether you have faith or you don't have faith, to the extreme side on both parts, just know that again, there's always about that balance, because again, it's unhealthy on both sides, because it can lead to a number of different things. But
Mm-hmm.
with that, transitioning to the last topic, and again, when you gotta head out, just let me know. The last topic I want to talk about, in connection, because I do it on purpose, y'all, in connection to faith, is why do we hope and wish?
Mm-hmm.
And before I even get into it, I wanted to make an observation and a note to y'all that as we were speaking, at least the word hope came up a few times in connection with thinking about faith, belief, doubt, and all of that, etc. And of course, I'm going to read some of the definitions, of course, but I wanted to make a note of that because sometimes those things are always synonymous or connected to each other. Because when you have faith, again, you're hoping something's going to turn out a certain way that you want it to turn out, because you have faith, that you have the confidence to back that, even without the proof, or sometimes with the proof. So as I get into that spiel, let me at least read the definitions for both hope, as well as give y'all a definition for wish, and then we'll go from there and continue to talk. But again, coming from Webster's dictionary, there's other dictionaries I can look at, but hope is a verb here in the dictionary as well as a noun. First one they have is to cherish a desire with anticipation, to want something to happen or be true. It's a hope. An archaic definition of it is trust. Next one, to desire with expectation of attainment or fulfillment. So the hope you're invited to something, or hope that you would gain some experience. To expect with confidence. Again, this one says trust. You seeing keywords. And then there's one that says hope against hope, which is interesting. To hope without any basis for expecting fulfillment. That is interesting. They have something about being against hope, using the word hope against hope. Interesting. And then the noun, it says to desire, or it says desire accompanied with expectation of or belief in fulfillment. So you're seeing there's that, again, there's a connection back and forth again. Someone or something on which hopes are centered. You're centered around, you're hoping that you'll win something. You're hoping that, again, you have this type of award that will happen to you, as well as something desired or hoped for, something good to come from all of this. Reliance, again, trust. Reason why I keep repeating these is, again, there's multiple definitions, but it's basically telling you synonymously with hope, you have that belief of some type of trust, reliance, to have an expectation of some type of fulfillment or joy. But that's for hope. And then for wish is a verb, to have a desire for, to give expression to a wish, of course, happy birthday, things of that sort, to give form to express a wish for, to request in the form of, to desire, to have a desire, to confirm, to make a wish. Again, it uses the word. An object of desire, an act or instance of wishing, an expressed will or desire. And then the last one, an invocation of good or evil fortune on someone. Interesting. To wish, almost a spell, to curse in a particular way. But those are the definitions. So again, the question, why do we hope and wish? What do you got? What do you have in your head, Kundan, from all of that?
Um, I think because we are human and we want things, we have desires and we want those desires fulfilled. Like hope is just the desire for our wishes to be fulfilled, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at some level of expectation that it might be fulfilled, but simultaneously there's some level of dread too that it might not be fulfilled, right? That's why we call it hope rather than certainty, right?
Mm.
That's also why we call it hope rather than faith, right?
Yes.
Uh, and in fact, that's why my own indigenous Buddhist teacher says hope and fear are actually two sides of the same coin,
Mm.
right? Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche, and he has a whole different perspective on hope for that reason. Where there's even an awareness practice that he teaches, where the first step is overcoming fear, but actually the second step is also overcoming hope because it's the other
Mm.
side of the same coin. Because if you hope for something, you also dread that it will not happen.
Woo, man. But I really like that interplay between again that coin of hope and fear, because when I think of again the I think of hope, I think of two things. One, I think of delayed gratification in a way,
Mm,
because we talk about desires, but then you're hoping for something that you don't know when it's going to come or when it may happen or where that may come. Because it can come tomorrow, it can come next week, it can come in the months, or it can come years down the line. So in some type of way, there's a delayed gratification aspect of it. And then two, when I also think about hope, also think of it in a sense of if you are too hopeful for a lot of things, again, it creates this
mhm,
imbalance and it creates a crutch,
mm,
so that literally it's not as powerful as it could be because of the fact that you're just hopeful about every single thing, even
mhm,
though the outcomes, even the proof and some of the evidence can say otherwise. You go against that, so that's almost to the aspect of the emotional logical piece of now it's more in the emotional space versus interplay between both logic and emotion when I think of when hope comes to my head.
mm.
But then also I have an acronym for hope too, but that's for a project, but it's nothing like super deep in that particular case. But the acronym I have
Yeah.
for hope for me from that project later on down the line, y'all get it here now. You go, oh, is a project? It's called helping open people's ears, because literally that's what hope does in a sense, is that it gives people that feeling of, you know what, maybe I didn't think this outcome was going to go where it's going to end up going, but hearing other people speak about it puts that percentage up a bit higher for me. So it helped me open my ears to like, yo, there is other things out there that not to be, you can be hopeful for, but at the same time that it is possible. But using that interplay of emotions and logic to gain that hope.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 In fact, too much hope can also lead into things like toxic positivity and things like that. I was just starting to read about a concept from the book Rethinking Positive Thinking, and she has a concept called mental contrasting, which she recommends over things like creative visualization, for example.
Mm,
Where she says that people who are constantly doing these, positive visualization things, the thing is, to the subconscious mind, uh, there isn't a difference between that visualization and reality. So the
mm,
subconscious thinks it's already been done,
yes.
so you don't move forward anymore with that. So she recommends a different technique called mental contrasting. And interestingly now, she also has an acronym called WOOP, WOOP, WOOP. And WOOP stands for wish, outcome, obstacle, and plan. So she said not only do we have to think about the what you wish and the outcome that can come from the
Mm-hmm.
fulfillment of your wish, like what does it really do for you, right?
Yeah.
What is the ultimate outcome of that? Then you also have to think about, oh, what is the obstacle to that? not only the external obstacle, but even your internal resistance. Identify that as well,
Yes.
right? Then you plan on not only how to overcome the external obstacle, you also plan on how and make a commitment, right, with deadlines on how you will overcome your internal resistance. And she actually recommends focusing more on your internal resistance because that's something you actually have control over. You don't really have much control over, you know, external circumstances.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that. Look, acronyms help a lot, y'all. As well
Yeah.
as it's great to have things to be able to break down, so then you can get the concept and the feel for a lot of stuff. And I'm glad that you shared that. And I think that's again a very, very great thing to look at, because for a lot of the stuff that we look and put into question, y'all, the things that we hope for, things that we're wishing for, the things that we have faith in, it's always great to have some type of structure to be able to evaluate a lot of this stuff, because again, that's how it lets we got to figure out, okay, does this honestly make sense to us? Where is this outcome really leading us to? And how do we again overcome the obstacles? What is set in play? What are the interferences? And then evaluate, did this really help me? Did me continuing to always cry about, oh man, I'm always having a bad day at work, and I
Mm,
just have faith that it's going to get better and better. But did that crying continue to help you come and get a better outcome, or did it exacerbate and make things even worse? And then what happens if you don't cry in this place or that? So then you got to start to experiment with, okay, figuring out again what works for you, how to build that faith, how to build on the particular hope, and know the boundary line between that. But yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. Now, what my interplay between what I want to talk about more with why do we hope and wish? Um, when I think of, again, I think of, we already said hope. So now when I think of the word wish, a lot of things that come to mind for me, when I think of wish, I think of the phrase lofty goal.
mm,
And I think of the lofty goal because of the fact that we can wish, or we can have that as something that's just like, yo, this is something super big. I don't think it can ever end up happening, but hey, it's a shot in the dark. I'm still going to put it out there. I'm going to still put it and have it there. And with that acronym that you said too, literally, if you write that down about a lofty goal that you want to claim to and get there,
mm,
and you start to create and make the build smart goals, all these other different structures you can use to really
mm,
make this outcomes and these wishes and things a reality in a certain way. It may not be immediately, but it makes it closer and closer to, yes, you think it's a lofty goal of you wanting to collaborate or wanting to get to this many fathers or followers, or be able to get to this certain amount of money or this certain type of knowledge and knowing of your culture, et cetera, et cetera. But again, it's us looking up at the sky, but forgetting about all the other steps or the tools and resources that can help us get closer to that. And
mm,
that's all the at least thoughts when I think about, okay, why we hoping and why we wishing. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, when we hope and wish for stuff, is mostly about, I mean, at least in my case, then you can say for other people's case, it's for a better outcome or a better life or something to help you get better at when it comes to just overall fulfillment and joy in your own personal experience here on earth. When I think about having hope and wishing for something, I don't
mhm,
necessarily see, there is of course going to be a percentage of it being the opposite way, but again, I'm speaking in general, at least for myself, that it's always towards betterment and not necessarily to detract and go backwards. But shouts
mm.
out to Poet Pimp in the building, as well as shouts out
Shout
to
out.
my homegirl and fam, Superb, aka Big Sue, aka Sue, in the building.
Hmm.
Appreciate y'all for being here.
Right. Yeah, the key is to reach for that bigger and better goal without losing your inner sense of present moment, uh, harmony and wholeness, and feeling complete inside. Right.
Yes.
Professor Vamsi Jalari calls it longing without craving. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
also in our Buddhism, right, we say Western people misinterpreted Buddhism as saying, "Oh, life is suffering," or that desire is at the root of all suffering, or even attachment,
Yeah,
right?
attachment. Yep.
is the root of all. But actually, those are very inaccurate translations, right? The word hope is closer to actually the actual word, but even hope is not close enough. There's a word called tana in Burmese Buddhism, at least in Pali, right, which is similar to the Sanskrit script that Burmese Buddhists use. It's the language used for actual scripture rather than spoken language,
Language.
right?
Okay.
So, and the word is tana, and tana is very hard to translate. But when you look at the way Buddhists look at the word hope, it's very close to the way they look at the word tana,
Okay.
right? And tana is this sense of uh, grasping, this craving, this sense of lack that's coming, right? Uh, so it's not uh, trying to express your own completeness. It's instead it's trying to fill a hole inside, right?
Yes.
That's when the wish transforms into suffering, right? So this is why my teacher, in his book Spontaneous Creativity, he talks about overcoming fear and hope, and then tuning into that sense of completeness, and then making a choice between like which positive quality do you want to express, right?
Yeah.
Uh, he calls it the 10,000 positive qualities, including the four immeasurables, which is love, joy, equanimity, and compassion, right? So it becomes, he flips it around. It becomes the desire now is more about expressing, right? One of those qualities. And then, you go into your belly afterwards and you try to build it up. You try to make it stronger and stronger. So the desire is about not only expressing those, but being more empowered to express those. So even the desire for money, for example, can then be flipped into, oh, I want to have more money so that I can express more joy, or I can express more generosity to my friends, or I can express more love to my lover, right? Or I can express more abundance to my parents and buy them a house, right?
Yes.
It flips it around when you make it uh, not only about other people and community, but also an expression of your own completeness. Whereas filling a hole in your heart, which is what hope feels like according to Buddhism, is that grasping is more about, oh, I feel lonely and so I want to get laid tomorrow, right? That is what creates suffering.
Hmm. The overindulgence and the over
Mm-hmm.
craving. The
Right.
desire,
Yeah.
desire can help but harm at the same time. It's a double-edged sword. It's the
Mm-hmm.
cup. It's so many of the sayings that we have up in
Mm-hmm.
here. That's for it. But let's continue on. Or I mean, if you gotta go, Kunin, let me know. I wanted to continue on and give like a few more
Mm-hmm.
different, or not differences, but the add-on of why we hope and wish. One, of course, being that again we want to have a better outcome, a betterment of ourselves. Two, like you were saying, in a sense, again, to fill a particular void or something that is missing within life to help either create a balance, or it can go the opposite way and create more of that destruction in a particular way. But what are some other reasons why we hope and wish?
Yeah. Well, the opposite of hope would be not the opposite of hope, but more like the counterpoint, right?
Yeah.
Is would be, like I said, the instead of filling a void, expressing your own completeness, expressing your own wholeness, can be another reason for wishing something, right? Expressing that, and I feel like that is more healthy because then also you tap more into that collective intelligence that I mentioned in the beginning, right?
Yes.
Coming full circle to that, where you tap into that, at least I do, into my faith in the collective intelligence that
Yeah.
I am riding in harmony with, the the cycles of life and like uh, just instead of feeling like I'm going upstream, it's more like, just pushing a little bit and the rest of the water waves will move me downstream when I do that, right? When my desires are more about expressing my own wholeness, I'm expressing not only my own wholeness, but also the collective wholeness,
Yeah.
because that way I'm just a node in the network.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is feels better for me. That's why I'm really into, Vedic astrology and tapping into astrological cycles as well these days, because it makes it not only shows me what to do, and sometimes it even shows me what to desire, like what is more healthy desire right now within this astrological cycle, right? Like for example, today, uh, after going combust and going through all sorts of issues, Jupiter finally transitioned into Pisces just today,
Yeah.
which is Pisces is its own sign.
Yes.
So for the first time in 12 years, because Jupiter's uh, its cycle is longer, right? It's back in its own sign of Pisces. So if you want a clue into how your life might be for the next 1 year from April 2022 until April 2023,
Yeah.
look back at what happened in 2010 and you might have a sense of like what your year might be. And you can plan accordingly as well.
Mm. Exactly. And
Yeah.
also too, Ad was here with Sue. Sue said, not sure if it's been discussed already, but a lot of people hope because we'd rather manifest positive outcomes rather than negative ones, the law of attraction. We spoke on it a
Mm-hmm.
bit, but not in the context that you put it there, because again, we spoke on it from the aspect of the wholeness of having both of those. But I'll say that's very true, because I
Mm-hmm.
think it was last Wednesday or the Wednesday before that. Remember, we talked about or you also said the term, because I seen it too, the toxic positivity, and how
Mm-hmm.
we're so overly positive. Again, being overly hopeful, overly this where it may be, can also not only lead to your detriment, but then it also blocks out again all the other experiences, and knowing that not everything in life is always going to be peaches and cream or rose colored, or all these other ideas of that. You always got to take the good, the bad, the indifferent, the in between. All
Yeah,
of those all come together. But thank you for sharing that,
because the
Sue.
reality is actually it's all intertwined. I wrote a poem recently called Intertwined, and it was inspired by another poem, Joy and Sorrow by Khalil Gibran. And in that poem, he basically
Mm,
said joy and sorrow are actually two sides of the same coin. So if you don't truly get that and truly embody that, then you'll always be suffering in some way, right? Because when you're enjoying life, you're always living in fear of losing the joy, in
mm-hmm.
that sorrow, right? And then when you're in sorrow, you don't see the joy, right? You fear that this will be forever. But if you can be see the sorrow even in the joy and the joy even in the sorrow,
Yeah.
and see it both at the same time all the time, that's when you will reconnect to your wholeness.
Mm, mm. Again, full circle, y'all. Not half circle, not a semicircle, not a cul-de-sac, not 3.14 pi. Well, pi is infinite, but still at the same time, it's
Mhm.
the wholeness of that cycle. I
Mhm.
really, or just the cycle in itself, going through that to know that everything in that cycle creates where that is.
Yeah, it's like a double spiral, or like the infinity
Keeps
symbol,
going. Yes.
or the Mebius strip, right?
Yep.
Which goes like this. Yeah,
Are
yeah,
you reading my mind or something,
yeah.
Kundan? I was just about to say that, but oh my goodness, man. That's why. That's why again, connected on a whole other different level. Before you do, go and head out, because I want to respect your time, man. Again,
Hmm.
with sleeping and stuff, I wanted to share
Oh
with
yeah.
y'all on this concept, or at least this questions from this whole show, and actually point y'all to a book that at least I read that embodies not only the faith, but also the hope and this wish. And that book, which I don't know if, no, I don't think you were the one that maybe you might have told me, but I had the other one that you recommended. But there's a book that I had saw and looked up, and I had the book for it. It's called Sadako and the Thousand Paper Cranes. And this is, and I'm not gonna spoil too much of the story, but is this story of a Japanese legend of
Oh
someone
yeah, I
basically,
remember that story.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically, creating these thousand paper cranes. In the situation that they were in, again, I know I'm not trying to get too much details, as I want you to go ahead and read, but they were told about the situation or the obstacle that they were overcoming, that if they created a thousand paper cranes, that they would be able to overcome that and be able to be
Mm-hmm.
healthy, thriving, etc. again. So that person's wish, or Sadako, which is, you'll know that's the character in the story, starts to create and do all of these paper planes in the hope and the wish that she would overcome this obstacle of what it is. And having faith in the person and just this legend about you making a thousand paper cranes will help you overcome your obstacles. Sadako went on that journey to do that. Now, am I going to tell you how it ends or how it's worked? No. I'm going to let you go read the story yourself. If you want to look it up, the book is by Eleanor Core, and it's called Sadako and the Thousand Paper Cranes. You can find it. It's a very, very, I'm going to say it's not an older story, but again, it's an older story that speaks on this idea of us having that faith, having that hope, and having a wish, even if, again, the outcome can look hopeless. Like we spoke about a lot of What's the Word Wednesdays before about being able to have options in a hopeless situation. But that book touches on all those ideas and core aspects as it goes on in the story. But
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to share a book
Yeah.
because you love sharing books. So I shared at
Mm-hmm.
least one book.
Yeah, I love that story because as a storyteller, my favorite story structure is the story within a story, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it shows the power of story. Because what that character did was she how she was living a real life,
Yeah.
but this legend, right, this
Mm-hmm.
fictional story was helping her navigate her reality. So that's why I say that storytelling is not how you escape reality, but how you navigate it, because that story literally helped her navigate her real story,
Yeah.
right? A friend of mine is went through a similar thing where her son was born with uh, congenital heart disease that made his heart bigger than
Enlarge.
normal,
Oh, okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And but his but the story of Hanuman from Hinduism helped the mother navigate that reality, because the Hanuman, part of Hanuman's story is that he at some point he opened up his heart, and his heart in his heart was Ram and Sita, right? The two
Mm,
deities, and which showed not only his love for Ram and Sita, but also his faith in them, right?
yes.
Uh, and the mother was able to connect the story because she was like, oh my God, like my son literally has a big heart because he's here to express a big heart.
Mm,
And and then because he believed that, he grew up to be, because the mother believed that, he grew up to be, it became like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? She raised him in a particular way, and he grew up to be like one of the most loving, kindest, uh, children ever, as well as the most talented, because other aspects of the story from Hanuman also was helping her raise the son in a particular way. So this
mm,
child now has written at least 2 or 3 books, whereas the mother has only written one book, right? Uh, so this Hanuman story is like influencing the way she's raising her child in this incredible ways.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes, y'all. To the beach, y'all. All of that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
continue on a little bit more, but in your particular case, Kundan, any last words, thoughts,
I
and
think,
roundups for the show, faith, and why we have hope and wish? Why do we hope and wish?
yeah, that's that's pretty much it. I just also just want to, before I go, and yeah, I do have to go, reiterate that be very cautious about what you have faith in and what moral code the archetypal energy of what you have faith in is encoded with. In other words, if you believe in a deity, even whether it's a Greek god Zeus, whether it's Hindu god Kali, whether it's the New Age universe, whether it's a Christian god, right? Whether it's Ma Saraswati, right? Which is what I have faith in these days,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm Hindu, right? It's really be careful about like the history of what moral codes has been encoded with, because you will both consciously and unconsciously and subconsciously be living life according to those moral codes. So really like dissect yourself and ask yourself, which moral code is running my life right now? And do I really want these moral codes to be running my life? And maybe this is why my life is not exactly the way I want it. Maybe this is why some parts of my life are being really totally, messed up, right? Uh, and maybe then it might be time to believe in a different moral code by a different deity, right? One that is more connected to my own culture and my own history, right?
Yep.
Because that is key. That you start with that, And as far as hope, yeah, do it more about expressing your own wholeness rather than filling a hole in your heart. Hey, that rhymes.
Bars. If we do that, that's bars, y'all.
Yeah. All right. Peace and love. Yeah.
Peace and love. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. Y'all heard that. I know I just did. This is bars. I'm gonna say that again. I'm gonna just replay. I'm gonna go back after this and listen to the replay to get it right, because I don't even want to butcher what they said. But butcher what they just said. My goodness. But a few more thoughts on this, and then after that, I'm gonna give my final wrap up of the whole show, and then we're gonna be out for tonight. So appreciate y'all coming through and y'all being here with me, as well as everyone coming in and sharing the thoughts and the perspective. So thank y'all so much. So another point I wanted to add on why do we hope and wish, besides the betterment and the connection, as well as to fill that void or that hope that's there. We also hope and wish because on the other side there is an ego aspect. There's an ego aspect of us, again, wanting to have some type of success, to have some type of status. So that's why we hope and we wish, because it's like, once I finally make it, once I'm there in the big leagues. I mean, shouts out to my brother Freddy when he was on here earlier. Being able to have that faith is like, it puts you in that level of, now you're successful. You're like all the successful people and have that success story to be able to share back to people, so that you can give those folks hope, as well as give them something to continue to strive and put faith in towards. But on the half side of that too, like I said, the ego aspect, if it goes overboard, again, it can be used as, well, I did it, so now you can do it. And if you do that, then if you're not able to do it, it means you're lazy. You weren't working hard enough. It can also be used as a manipulation tactic. But there's another reason why we do hope and we wish for status, for success, for that type of merit or accolade. And we're up there. We made it to big leagues, whatever the big leagues for you. That could be Hollywood. That could be literally the big leagues, being baseball, any sports, whatever field that you're in. That's another reason why that we hope and we wish. Another one that pops in my head when I think about why we hope and why we wish, besides all the ones aforementioned before, is, and I just had it, now it just ended up going away. Also, to avoid, and it can be it can be a parallel to, again, wanting that whole idea of the negative to disappear and then positive to be there. But also we use it again as a way to cope and to avoid certain situations. So we be hopeful and we wish for things to happen, because sometimes we some people aren't ready to put in the energy and the effort behind that. We can always keep going, praying on the knees, putting it out there, but only just through words and not doing it through actions. And we use that as a way, again, to avoid having to do so, because you feel, okay, I've already done my part. I've wished it out there. I put the hope out there. I went the law of attraction and I threw that out there. Besides, again, put in the effort, the energy, and the time behind that to be able to really implement it. So we use it as a way to avoid, a way to a way to cope with our life and our situation and experiences. And he said, that's right. Express your wholeness rather than feeling a hole in your heart. There it is right there. Now, the last thing that I think about, you think of why do we hope and wish, is where are those influences of hoping and wishing, where do they come from? How do we know about hope? How do we know about wishing? And a lot of that, it's not internally. There's that instance, of course, of survival pairing close to your hope and the wishes. But that's, again, the action aspect. But we find a lot of these hopes and these wishes are, again, they're learned. They've been programmed. They've been passed down from generations and generations. In my particular case, within the Black community, we always hope and we're wishing, again, to be seen as equal. You see that throughout history, civil rights. You see that with all of the marching, all of the standing, all of the protests. It's the hope and the wish and that faith that there will be a better, not only outcome, but that things will change. And we know that change is constant and that change does happen. But at times, we have to be able, again, to step back and evaluate and see, is what we're hoping for or what we're wishing for, again, just like Sue was saying earlier, is it realistic? Can it be accomplished? Are we going about the right way of doing so? And yes, you're like, okay, well, man, everything doesn't always have to be super logical. You don't always have to be doing. To a certain extent, I agree. But at the same time, that's why we always keep on saying wholeness and balance, because it's important that you take multiple aspects from all different perspectives and sides to put it all together to get a more complete story. Not the whole story, but you get close, dang near to it. And when you're able to do that, you're able to focus your energy on that wish and that hope, as I was speaking earlier about the lofty goal, and now it becomes more realistic. It becomes that smart goal. It becomes something that at first seemed like it was extremely far away and it was impossible. Now it's starting to get closer and closer within your reach. And again, that takes the time. It takes that effort. It takes the energy behind the initial awareness of, I'm hoping this will work out. I'm hoping that I can finally make an A in my class. I'm hoping that I can finally get that promotion. I'm wishing that I can change certain things within my house. I'm wishing that I would take that next step to push further in my career, be a better person, go to therapy, whatever it may end up being. Again, to me, let me use this, is the last analogy. I've done it before, but it all goes back to pairing the whole aspect of, again, knowledge versus wisdom, and the whole idea of how knowledge is all this acquired information that you have, the intelligence, how you're able to intel and tell yourself of what's inside of you, of what you've learned from the outside. But for you to properly assess that knowledge, you put it through application, you use it, which then turns into that wisdom. So a lot of this stuff, you don't just have the faith. You don't just have the hope. You just don't have the wish. You must act upon it. And once you act upon that and you put it into play, things will fall into play for you, rather if you want it for betterment. If you want it for the opposite or the in between, you can do that as well. But again, at the end of the day, the outcome, the wanted desire, as well as where you see yourself along this journey, is where that hope, wish, and faith will fall in line. So again, if you're trying to focus, you're trying to get closer to something, it's just not only hoping and wishing, but putting the action behind it and pushing towards that to then finally see how much closer you are or how farther you're away, and how can you get there, and put in the steps to implement, revise, evaluate, and continue the process until either you get there or you know this is a stopping point for you. Well, with that, y'all, to wrap up, again, thank y'all for the support. Thank y'all for coming in, having this time here with me. You could be anywhere else, but you're here with me, looking through, listening to what's being said and what's being put out there. So appreciate all of y'all for that. Now, when it comes to wrapping up, when it comes to current events, always, always be mindful and aware of what's happening around you, whether you're home, you're abroad, U.S., globally, wherever you are, so that you can not only properly prepare yourself, but be able to have a response to whatever may happen. Life is not it is unavoidable in a sense, but it's unpredictable. So being able to at least have something to prepare you, proper preparation prevents poor performance. Simple as that. Second, when it comes to faith, depending on how you look at it and what faith is to you, whether you have proof, the confidence and the trust in your abilities to be able to put faith into things, or it's harder for you to figure that out, the main thing is to figure out what type of faith you have, whether if it's in religion, whether if it's in people, whether if it's in an outcome that you cannot see. For me, it's focusing attention internally to heal. So my faith is to come from within, heal from within, learn self, build upon self. So then after that, everything outside of that is an addition. And that's how I run on faith for myself. But again, once you're able to apply, figure that out for you what your faith is, take those necessary steps that you need to strengthen it. Whether, again, if it is to help you or if it's there to be your downfall, hopefully it's not. But again, just being realistic about it. And lastly, why do we hope and wish? We do it for a number of things. Whether if it's for connection, whether if it's to better oneself, whether if it's to fill a hole or a void, to find that wholeness, whether if it is to feel that you're successful and have some type of accolades, whatever that may end up being while we hope and wish, don't forget the action behind it. We can speak all these words and say all of these things, but if we do not put the action and the energy and time behind it, it is basically a waste of time, or a waste of that energy that can be used to push you further. So again, it's up to you of what you want to hope and wish for and how you're going to move about it. But with that, y'all, thank y'all so much again for another episode of What's the Word Wednesdays, season 3, episode 6. I don't know why my voice went 3, but it just did. So again, shouts out to all y'all for being here. Thank you for coming through and listening. For those who are going to be watching this later on Instagram and YouTube, please subscribe to your boy, especially on YouTube or A.D.V.I.S.S, because more videos like this is going to be dropping over there, and we're trying to reach 1,000 and plus beyond, so that more other content can also show up on the YouTubes and things as well. So go support your boy there. But then other than that, keep pushing forward to find your hope, find your wholeness, find your faith, whatever it may end up being, to help better yourself and strengthen yourself in your experience in life. With that, y'all, I love y'all so much. Brother A.D.V.I.S, we'll see y'all next Wednesday. But other than that, peace, one love, keep your pace. We out.